everybody, Jeremy here again with another toy review. I felt like this time around I would do something a little bit different. This is going to be a video for those of you out there who maybe don't own any or very many Sentai toys whatsoever, and you're thinking, should I get into this game? What should I buy? What should I be looking for when I'm trying to figure out what I should buy? So I thought the best way to do that would be maybe go back to have a little bit of a retro review. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the changers. This is the bread and butter of any good Sentai collection. The changers for the last 4 seasons. Okay, yeah, I said retro, but, you know, I'll fudge it a little bit here because this is pretty much the standard of what you see nowadays, so something recent would probably be your best gauge. So I'm going to start here. This is the Mobiritz. The Mobiritz was the changer for Gokaiger, which happened 4 years ago. Pirate theme, let's go, Kyoryuger. Yeah, you know, you get the deal. They took all their characters from One Piece. Hey, I'm not complaining. It's friggin' One Piece. One Piece is fantastic. Anyway, this is actually, surprising, the last toy in recent memory, at least from the core team, to be a cell phone. People joke all the time about, oh my gosh, every single season it's a friggin' cell phone. But surprisingly, in recent years, not that many cell phones. So, what's interesting about this one is that the buttons all actually work. Some seasons they do, some seasons they don't. When the buttons work, it adds a ton of playability to the toy. Let's turn it on. Da-da-da! Let us take our good friend Captain Marvelous here. Now, for those of you who've been in the toy store during Power Rangers Super Mega Force, you saw these same basic keys. They're the same designs. The only difference is that these are quite a bit bigger. I'd say maybe 1.5 times the size. A little more heft to them. Other than that, I mean, it's the same basic idea. The keys have, based on the cuts in the key, it's going to hit different buttons in here and make different noises. That's the transformation, basically, for Gokaiger. Now, again, like I was saying before, with the buttons, there's some interesting noises here. You didn't hear that? You said Merry Christmas. Now, I'm not exactly sure why the number was 1224. You'd think it'd be 1225 since that's actually Christmas. Is Christmas a day early in Japan? I don't know these things. Anyway, the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that it's got a lot of interesting noises here. Even if you don't have a vast array of Ranger keys, you can still get a lot of use out of this thing. That's key, because funny joke. Anyway, funny joke. The thing is that with the keys, there's a lot there to get. They released so many different team sets. The thing is, you're buying 5 keys at $10-12 a pop, which doesn't seem like a lot, but all 5 keys make the same basic noises. The noises are based on the teams more than they are the individuals. Unless it's, say, Hurricaneger, where there's the Hurricanegers, there's the Gokaiger, there's Shurikenger. They all make different noises, but for the most part, when you buy a team, you're getting one unique sound. So, for a lot of fans out there, you're sitting there like, oh my god, I have to buy all these different keys. Even if you just buy the Red Ranger set and to get a bunch of the different Red Rangers that haven't been released already, you're still dropping tons and tons of dough to get all these keys. Now, there's psychotic people, again, like me, who will drop that money, who will buy all those keys. But you could buy the Candy Toy keys, you could buy the Gashapon keys. In either scenario, you're dropping less money, but it's still a lot of money just to get all these noises. That's the thing you have to realize when you get into this game is if you want to get full use out of these toys, you're going to be buying a lot of accessories. Is that right for you? I don't know. Again, it's based on the individual. Me, I'd buy them. This is probably the best compromise out of all the ones that I'm going to show you here as far as getting lots of noises out of the changer and not having to drop tons and tons of money. So, bear that in mind. Mobiritz, Pirates, adios. Next, Go Busters. Go Busters is going to be the most unique of the four I show you. For obviously, you see keys, you see batteries, you see trains. Go Busters doesn't have any of that. Go Busters is just Go Busters. It's a wrist morpher. You hit the button once. Hey, it's morphin' time, folks. And really that's it. There's a power-up morpher that attaches to this one, but other than that, I've pretty much shown you everything Go Busters has to offer. If you turn this crank, it makes some funny noises. It plays a little bit of a game, counting to 10 and telling you to turn it as fast as you can. But really, that's the long and short of the whole thing. Go Busters is a fantastic season to watch. But if you're someone like me trying to buy toys, and you look and you actually see the only series since Gokaiger, which was 2008, it's the only series since then that didn't have a friggin' collectible. So if you're you're light in the pocketbook, bam, Go Busters is your joint. Really, I can't show you anything else. That's Go Busters. Kyoryuger, the big ol' Gabu revolver. Again, you just take a look at this and you compare it to something like, there's no contest. This thing is massive. It's an absolute beast. I believe that they use these in the actual Dino Charge show, or at least something similar to that. I don't think the barrel is translucent, so it's something similar. But it's the same size. Crunch! Now, of course, the trade-off here is that the changer is the actual sidearm that the Rangers use, which is interesting because they don't really do something like that. They do it this year. They've done it with the Ninja with the sword, but outside the Ninja and the big Gabu revolver Kyoryuger, I'm pretty sure those are the only times the weapons have actually been the changers. I'm sure I could be wrong. Someone could correct me, but it's a fun little bonus because you know, if you're sitting there trying to like, oh, I'm gonna cosplay, I'm gonna interact. This is about as interactive as you can get. Crunch. Red Ranger, must not fail. Boom. Another interesting thing, that voice is also something from One Piece. Yeah. There you go. Henshin. So the thing with Kyoryuger is that you see all these little batteries, as they call them. The problem with that is to get every single battery for the 10 friggin' Rangers that Kyoryuger decides to have is you have to buy all this mecha. Red, pink, and blue come together with the initial Megazord, but beyond that, you're buying a new mecha every single time you want one of these. This bad boy comes from the final mecha of the series. It's a beast. It's heavy as heck, which means it costs a lot of money. So unless you're one of those lucky people, like me, again, I'm doubling up here, but there is an actual set that has all 23 possible little batteries out there. They're chromed out, so they're not exactly the same as the show accurate ones here, but beyond that, you're buying toy after toy after toy for one, maybe two batteries a pop. So if you want the whole set, again, you're shelling out a lot of money. Each battery gives you a couple of noises, which is fun. You know, for me, Kyoryuger is a series that I just thought had fantastic designs. I thought they were very clever. I enjoyed the wide array of dinosaurs. So collecting all the batteries was fun for me, especially when I knew as soon as the series started, this is how many there are. That's it. You know, they're not going to surprise you with a bunch of wacky stuff. So I was okay with it. You might not be. You might want to try to find the candy versions, because the good thing with batteries like this is that there's no bells and whistles. There's no lights. There's no sounds. They just click. You can find, it doesn't matter if you're buying the candy version, doesn't matter if you're buying the Gashapon version, doesn't matter if you're waiting for this big deluxe version, you're going to get basically the exact same thing. Moving on. ToQger. Yes, I'm not excited. It's friggin' ToQger. Not a fan. I love you, Gokaiger. I love you, Go Busters. I love you, Kyoryuger. ToQger's kind of jank. No offense to any fans out there, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. It had some moments, but overall, not doing it for me. Again, another wrist-mounted morpher, a lot bulkier than the Go Busters one, a lot more cumbersome to actually put on your wrist. Look how far that goes out because they have to put the batteries over here. Ah! No, Hakase, he fell down. Oh well. Anyway. Crazy train noise. Docking. It recognizes which train is there. Hit the morpher noise. Ichigo #1. So, compared to, say, the Gabo Revolver, where each battery gives you a couple noises, you get 3 here. You get the changing, you get summoning the mecha, and you get changing rails, which sounds creepy, but basically all it was, for those who don't know, is ToQger, the Rangers could give each other their trains, so basically, oh, I'm number 5, because they were all labeled by their numbers, not by their colors, but hey, I'm number 5, who I'm usually the Pink Ranger, but if I take number 3's train, now I'm wearing a green suit. It's good in theory, especially coming off of, say, Gokaiger, where all they did was change into other Rangers. But the thing is, in ToQger, it didn't really matter who you were. You just got to use somebody else's weapon. They didn't say, oh, this Ranger is fast, this Ranger is strong. Nothing like that, really. It was just, you're wearing a different colored suit. Big friggin' whoop. Now, with ToQger, the difference compared to these other seasons is that all of their trains, for the most part, not all of them, there were a few other ones, like, say, the Drill or the Shield, where they all actually were part of the mecha. You look at this thing right here, and it's small, but it's actually part of the main mecha. There's maybe, it's about that long normally, and you can see, boom, it's going to be the leg. So it's interesting that you can just buy the mecha, and you have the team's basic changers right there. You have all of their little trains for the changer. Again, if you want to buy, you're going to have to buy the 6 Rangers. If you want the orange one, you're going to have to buy all these other individual ones that make other mecha if you're going to want all of the possible trains to get all of the possible noises out of this thing. And you're going to need them all if you're going to want to build the final mecha that comes at the end of the series, because those little ones that don't seem important, like the Shield, they're part of it, which is, again, a pain in the ass. So, what I'm trying to say here is that, ultimately, the era of Super Sentai that we live in nowadays, sans Go Busters, is that it's one where you're gonna get absolutely smacked in the wallet if you want to truly get all of the playability out of your toys. Even since Gokaiger, they've started a new trend that I know is in Kyoryuger, I know is in ToQger. I haven't really seen it in Ninja, but they're releasing trains that have past Sentai teams on the side. They're releasing batteries that have past Sentais in them. So when you activate them, put them in here, you'll actually hear Super Sentai, or you'll hear Aba Ranger, stuff like that. It'll actually give you noises related to those. The problem with that, though, is they don't release all of the past series. They usually release a few from the beginning, and then they focus on more recent ones. So you're not going to get them all. So maybe you'll be like, why would I even bother to collect those if they're not going to release every single Sentai? You might be as anally retentive as I am and say, like, well, no, they're not going to release them all. Why would I bother even buying any of them? Fair point. Either way you slice it, you still want all your noises with a Gabo Revolver or a ToQ Changer. You're buying all this stuff. You want all your noises with the Mobiritz? It's a little easier. A lot of the noises are actually built in the device where you just hit the buttons. Again, Go Busters, done. Boom. Moving on. Personally, I like to give these some letter grades, and I'm giving these the grades based on how accessible they are, how much I just like their design, kind of how much I like the series, too, factors into it. Mobiritz, I gotta give it an A+. Honestly, this is my absolute favorite changer in recent memory. There were some good ones before. I'm a big fan of the Magiphone, big fan of the X-Cellular from Gokaiger. They have a lot of good noises, just solid designs. But this is a good design from an innovative series with a lot of noises built into it, a lot of extra fun noises that you get with the keys. It's a friggin' home run for me. Go Busters. It's fun. I'd say probably a B, right in the middle there. You know, it's a passing grade. It's good. It's just not fantastic because it doesn't have a lot to it. Back in the day, this probably would have been a fantastic morpher when the standards were lower, but now with all the bells and whistles, it doesn't quite measure up. Also, I've never been a huge fan of wrist-mounted morphers. No offense, I'm a damn adult. Unless I want to buy extenders for comrade belts or for wrist morphers, I got a big arm here, dude. I got a honker here. This thing doesn't, I mean, I can put it on, but, you know, blood flow, gone. So, again, not a huge fan in that department. Gobble Revolver, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more playable. It really feels like, you know, you're in there because you got the actual weapon, using it as the morpher. Solid A for me. My only complaint is the color is not exactly my favorite. It's super, super bulky. But, and again, it doesn't have quite as many sounds. You really need to put in a battery to get any real sounds out of it, although they're there once you do it. So, it's a very solid thing. Solid A. ToQger, I'm gonna lowball it. I'm sorry. C all around. Oh God, make it stop. Anyway, solid. Getting revenge. Solid C. Because again, I'm not a huge fan of the theme. It's a wrist-mounted morpher. It's really bulky even for a standard wrist-mounted morpher. You need the trains to get any noises out of it, really, and while they're easier to get than, say, the keys or the batteries, they're still not my favorite design. It's just very bland. It's very standard for what we see today. Not very innovative, not very attractive. It's just kind of there. Solid C. That being said, I don't think any of these are bad changers. I think they all have their pros and cons. I think they're all good for what they are. It's just how much money are you willing to invest, and a lot of that has to do with A, your financial situation, and B, just how much you like the series in general. If you love ToQger, for whatever reason, ToQger is fantastic for you, I could bump this grade up easily because it would be your personal experience. Again, your mileage may vary. Overall, what I want to say is that you have to be careful going into Super Sentai. It's a great show to watch, but for a lot of people, that's where it ends. You're just watching it. You don't really care about this sort of stuff, or maybe you care about it, but again, it's just not a fiscally responsible idea for you. Oh, I'm an adult. I gotta save my money. I gotta have food. I gotta have a roof over my head. All that nonsense. No, toys. But yeah, so it's really an individual game. If you have money for one morpher, I say you go Pirates. You go Busters. Those are probably your best bets. But if you're willing to jump in feet first, head first, what was it for the phrases? I would, you know, go something for like a Gobble Revolver where you can really go and get all these batteries and have lots of fun. Ultimately, I would say that Super Sentai, anything that you're importing for Japan, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, anything like that, you're gonna have to commit to it if you want to buy something like this. Anyway, if you like this video, please comment, subscribe. Give me some suggestions about what else you would like me to review. I have a lot of crap in my closet that I would be willing to review. If there's anything you're interested in, drop me a line, let me know. Thanks for watching.